Section 1, Act 1, A Past That Won't Stay Buried. Picture this, 2004, the snowy, godforsaken town of Ludendorff, North Yankton. A crew of pro thieves, Michael Townley, Trevor Phillips, and their buddy Brad Snyder are knocking over a security depot. It's clean, it's efficient, until it's not. A guard gets a little too brave, and Trevor, who isn't exactly known for his gentle touch, puts him down. The situation snowballs. Cops are everywhere, and in the chaos of the escape, their getaway driver is killed. Forced to run on foot, the crew gets ambushed. A single shot rings out from a hidden sniper. Michael goes down, then Brad goes down. Trevor, pinned by an army of cops, is the only one who makes it out, vanishing into the blizzard with the screams of his friends echoing in his ears. He's left to believe his best friend Michael is dead and that Brad is locked up for life. But it was all a lie, a perfectly crafted betrayal. Michael Townley cut a deal with a corrupt FIB agent, Dave Norton. The deal was simple: set up his crew, and in return, Michael gets a new name and a fresh start in witness protection. The sniper was Dave Norton, and the shot was just part of the show. Brad, however, was accidentally killed for real, his body buried in Michael's fake grave to sell the story to Trevor. In that snowy field, Michael Townley died, and Michael DeSanta was born, moving to sunny Los Santos to live the American dream he'd paid for with blood. Fast forward 9 years, and that American dream is looking more like a nightmare. Michael DeSanta lives in a Rockford Hills mansion with all the toys, but his family can't stand him. His days are spent drinking, arguing with his wife Amanda, and watching his kids, Jimmy and Tracy, become caricatures of spoiled Los Santos brats. He's rich and safe, but he's miserable, admitting to his therapist that he feels like a washed-up has-been. The only time he feels competent, he says, is when he has a gun in his hand. Meanwhile, across town in South Los Santos, we meet Franklin Clinton. Born in '88 to a coke-addicted mother and no father, Franklin's life has been anything but easy. He's sharp, he's ambitious, and he's desperate to get away from the small-time gang life that his friends, especially his best friend Lamar Davis, are stuck in. Franklin and Lamar work as repo men for a slimeball luxury car dealer named Simeon Yatarian, and it's this dead-end job that puts him on a direct path to Michael DeSanta. Simeon sends Franklin to repossess an SUV from Michael's son, Jimmy. Franklin sneaks into the mansion and grabs the car with ease, but he doesn't get far. But who's hiding in the back seat? Michael himself, calmly holding a gun to Franklin's head and telling him to drive. Instead of being angry, Michael sees a spark of his younger, hungrier self in Franklin. In a shared blast of adrenaline, Michael has Franklin floor it and ram the SUV right through Simeon's dealership window. This little act of defiance lights a fire in Michael. The thrill is back, but it's a moment of pure rage that really pushes him over the edge. After catching his wife Amanda with her tennis coach, Michael and Franklin chase the guy to a stunning mansion in the Vinewood Hills. In a blind fury, Michael ties a cable to the house's support beams and uses his truck to pull the entire structure down the hillside. Just one tiny problem: it wasn't the coach's house. It belonged to Martin Madrazo, a notoriously violent drug lord. Madrazo wants $2.5 million for the damages, money Michael just doesn't have. He's forced back into the only life he knows, the one he swore he'd left behind. Michael realizes he only has one play: a heist. He calls up an old contact, the genius hacker Lester Crest. With Lester planning and Franklin as his new capable protege, Michael puts together a crew to rob the Vangelico jewelry store. The heist is a thing of beauty. Whether they go in quiet with gas or loud with guns, they get away with millions in jewels, escaping through the city sewers. The job is a success. Madrazo gets his money, Franklin gets his first real score, and Michael feels truly alive for the first time in a decade. But a news report on the heist carries his signature catchphrase, a line that echoes across the country to a dusty trailer, where a man everyone thought was dead is about to find out he was betrayed. Section 2, Act 2, The Unholy Trinity. Out in a filthy trailer in Sandy Shores, Trevor Phillips is watching the news. Trevor, a guy who's basically a walking bundle of rage issues and childhood trauma, has spent the last 9 years building a sad little criminal empire called Trevor Phillips Industries. He truly believed Michael died in North Yankton, a loss that only fueled his psychosis. But then he hears it on the news report, Michael's catchphrase. In a flash of pure rage, Trevor realizes the impossible. His best friend is alive. His arrival in Los Santos isn't so much a reunion as it is a home invasion, completely shattering the fake peace of Michael's new life. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Trevor, a human time bomb, wants answers. Michael, the master of lies, has to dance around the truth about North Yankton, unable to admit he made a deal or that Brad is the one in his grave. And just like that, our trio is formed. Michael, the conflicted veteran, trying to keep it all from falling apart. Franklin, the hungry protege caught in the middle. And Trevor, the agent of chaos, a living, screaming reminder of Michael's past sins. Trevor immediately drags them into his world of mayhem, starting a war with the Lost MC, wiping out the rival O'Neill brothers by burning down their meth farm, and tangling with everyone from the Triads to Merryweather mercenaries. Their shaky partnership is quickly hijacked by the very people Michael tried to run from. FIB agent Steve Haynes, a power-tripping egomaniac, and Dave Norton, Michael's old handler, strong-arm the trio into becoming their personal Black Ops squad. They're forced to run missions against the FIB's rival agency, the IAA, stealing everything from sensitive data to a nerve agent. During a raid on the FIB building, Michael cleverly uses the opportunity to erase his own file, hoping to finally get out from under Haynes' thumb. The personal stakes get higher for everyone. Franklin gets pulled back into the life he hates when his friend Lamar is set up by an old associate, Stretch, and kidnapped by the rival Ballast gang. In a rare moment of unity, Michael and Trevor join Franklin in a full-on assault on a sawmill to rescue Lamar, a mission that, against all odds, solidifies their weird, dysfunctional bond. But the lies holding them together are bound to fall apart. Trevor's suspicions about Brad, who he thinks is still alive in prison, keep growing. After Michael lets a detail slip, Trevor's simmering rage boils over. He flies to North Yankton, forcing Michael to follow. There, in the same snow-covered graveyard from 9 years ago, Trevor digs up Michael Townley's grave. The truth is finally unearthed, literally. Inside the coffin isn't Michael, it's the body of Brad Snyder. The betrayal is total. For 9 years, Trevor had been writing letters to a dead man. The two former friends are at a standoff, guns drawn over the open grave, ready to end it. But before they can, they're ambushed by Triads working for Wei Cheng, a crime boss Trevor had pissed off. In the chaos, the Triads grab Michael, mistaking him for Trevor's lover. Still reeling, Trevor just walks away, leaving Michael to his fate. But Franklin, ever the loyal one, refuses to let his mentor die. He tracks Michael to a slaughterhouse, but knows he can't do it alone. He begs Trevor for help. In a moment of twisted logic, Trevor agrees to save Michael, but only so he can be the one to kill him later. They rescue Michael in a hail of bullets, but their partnership is shattered. The animosity is real, but one thing still holds them together: the promise of one last giant score. A job so big it would set them all up for life. Lester Crest gives them the ultimate target, the Union Depository, holding over $200 million in gold bullion. This is the big one. The planning is meticulous, with 2 ways in. The obvious way involves a giant drill and a helicopter airlift. The subtle way is a clever con where they impersonate guards and walk the gold right out the front door. Either way, the goal is the same: steal a fortune and vanish. The tension between Michael and Trevor is a cold war of bitter words and hateful stares. But with that much money on the line, they agree to a truce. The stage is set for the biggest heist in Los Santos history, a final gamble that will either make them legends or get them killed. Section 3, Act 3, The Final Choice. The Union Depository heist is the perfect blend of precision and total chaos. Whether they drill their way in or con their way in, the result is a spectacular success. They battle through waves of police and Merryweather mercs, escaping with over $200 million in gold. For a second, it looks like they've actually done it. They have the money, they have their freedom, but in Los Santos, happy endings don't come easy. Their enemies come crawling back out of the woodwork. Devin Weston, a sleazy billionaire they'd worked for and been double-crossed by, wants Michael dead, and FIB agent Steve Haynes, deciding Trevor is too much of a loose cannon, orders Franklin to take him out. This is it, the moment the entire story has been building towards. Franklin, the kid who just wanted a better life, is faced with an impossible choice, presented as 3 options. Option A, something sensible. Franklin obeys the FIB and agrees to kill Trevor. He sets up a meeting, but Trevor smells a rat and runs. With Michael's help, Franklin corners Trevor at an oil field. After a crash, a heartbroken Michael shoves the wounded Trevor back into leaking fuel. Franklin fires a single shot. Trevor Phillips is burned alive. Michael and Franklin walk away from each other, their bond destroyed by the act. Option B, the time's come. Franklin takes the money from Devin Weston and agrees to kill Michael. He confronts his mentor, chasing him to a power plant. After a fight, Michael is left dangling from a smokestack. Franklin can choose to save him or let him fall. Even if he tries to help, Michael, realizing the betrayal, headbutts Franklin and plummets to his death. Trevor, enraged that Franklin killed the one man he felt he had the right to kill, cuts all ties, leaving Franklin completely alone with his money. But there is a third option, an option that most people agree is the true ending to this story. Option C, the third way, better known as Death Wish. Franklin refuses to betray either of his friends. He makes a call to Lester. Killing them is cutting us loose, he says. What about the third way, A, B, or to C? The plan is insane. Instead of fighting each other, the three of them will team up to wipe out every single enemy they have. What follows is a masterclass in revenge. With Lester coordinating, the trio, their bond reforged by the need to survive, becomes an unstoppable killing machine. They ambush and execute Stretch, the gangster who betrayed Lamar. They assassinate Steve Haynes on the Ferris wheel at Del Perro Pier. They annihilate Wei Chung and his entire triad army. The final target is Devin Weston. Trevor kidnaps the billionaire, shoves him in the trunk of a car, and drives to a scenic cliffside. Michael and Franklin show up. One last time, the three stand together over the man who tried to tear them apart. After a few final insults, they push the car over the cliff, sending Devin Weston to a fiery, explosive end. With their enemies gone and a fortune in the bank, the saga ends. All three protagonists survive, and they are finally free. Michael starts to mend things with his family. Trevor is still a maniac, but now he's a multi-millionaire maniac, and Franklin has become a legitimate powerhouse in Los Santos. They agree to go their separate ways, not as enemies, but as friends who pulled off the impossible. So let's go back to that first question. Which ending feels right to you? Do you go for the tragic backstabbing route, or is Death Wish the only real conclusion for Michael, Franklin, and Trevor? Let me know your favorite ending and your favorite character in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Conclusion. In the end, the story of Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't just about stealing cars and robbing banks. It's a twisted critique of the American dream, and a story about a friendship forged in gunfire and betrayal. It's the story of Michael, the man who had everything but felt nothing, who had to become a criminal again to feel alive. It's the story of Franklin, the kid from the hood who navigated a world of chaos to build a better life. And it's the story of Trevor, the fiercely loyal psycho who taught us that sometimes the only sane response to an insane world is to embrace the madness. Together, they tore Los Santos apart and remade it in their own image, going from betrayal to a massive fortune and leaving a legacy burned into the city's criminal history.